right, so as we move from week 3 to week 4, I'm getting this out a little bit later than normal on Friday, mostly because there's just been a lot of activity I needed to do related to this class and related to some of my other ones, and specifically related to my coding class for Node.js. I had a student run into an issue that took me half the day and I'm still not done with it. And that's kind of the nature sometimes of this work, is that now I'm not saying, hopefully that'll be an issue you run into, but just know that working in technology, sometimes you do have to just be willing to dig in and figure it out to the best of your ability. And what I ended up doing is I reached out for help from people who do this day in and day out. And even they were a little baffled, which made me feel better. So the whole point of my conversation, don't feel bad, and please reach out for help when you need it. Okay, so in this week, as I said last week, once you clone your repo, and we did that here, do not change the web interface, only change things locally. And now this is really where you learn that workflow of working locally. And in here I show you, and actually not in here, but in the video, I actually walk you through the commands you need to do, okay? So this is way important, is that you work now only locally and you do your process of adding files to the repo once they've been changed, and also committing them and then pushing them. That's when you're actually moving them into GitHub so that you can give me your URLs, okay? So this week I need to update, so in the 2 videos, they're from the previous semester. I just want to give you a little update, and I really appreciate the students that work ahead, because it made me realize that my write-up on this wasn't the greatest it could have been, okay? So what I've done here, and I'm actually going to change this for the next one as well, is that in this first section that you're going to do, sorry, this first 41 minutes, here's the structure you're going to want to create, okay? And again, this is a little different than the video, so make sure you follow along. So I'm going to open up my editor, okay? There it is. And first thing I want to show you is one thing I do is I open up that root folder I had you, and it's not root, but from this root, I'd consider this the root of our repos for this course. Perfect. Let me just eke that in there just a little bit so it's perfectly aligned. One thing, and I'm going to show you how I got this, is basically file open folder. Okay, so you see all these different options here, right? So actually I'm going to do open, and then actually it doesn't show folder, but then I'm going to navigate to my folders, okay? And I happen to know I had this one. This is my one from last semester. So yours, hopefully if you did it another way, just find that folder, because what should be underneath there after last week's work is these 3 repos. And what this is nice for is that you don't have to change back and forth by opening these in the editor separately. So this is kind of nice. I like this workflow. It works for me. But again, you can do it however you want. One thing you do want to know, though, if you do it this way, is when you start the terminal, it starts at the root. So in this case, when you do ls, you're going to see the repos, and then you change into whichever repo you're going to want to work in. Okay? So, and then ls here. So that's, I just FYI, do it however you want. So then in the private, under this series that you're going to do, and here's what he does, and I actually should have in the video I'd created last semester done this, so this is your update. Hopefully you watch this before you do that. Is under your lectures, right? If you're not used to this by now, but this little navigation here is basically like a little explorer, what we call a finder on the Mac. So once you have, or actually if we're starting, you haven't done this at all, click on lectures, and then in lectures, click new folder, right? So that'll be your new folder. And this is what you would call CSS cheat sheet. Now I'm not going to do it because I already have it. And then inside that folder, right, you're going to create 2 more folders. And you can do this. You can nest folders with the same name, not a problem, because they have unique locations on the hardware. So it's not a problem. So just know that this is how, I think this will work better than what I showed in the video, because this falls more along with what he did. And you don't get to this until the second part, which you do on Thursday. All right. So in this case, then you will put your files, you'll create, you'll end up creating an index file like this, and then you'll create the other files that he shows in here. And I do believe he actually ends up creating in here a CSS file. Okay, or a CSS folder, and then inside of there your CSS file. But just follow along here, knowing that this is a structure. And then what you can do is when you submit, when you push to GitHub, you can just give me a link to this folder, and it'll be fine. Okay. So I just wanted to give you that update. Hopefully you heard that and you won't have any problems, because I know a couple of folks had questions. And that's the other thing, right? Is it's great. You really, I mean, not only should I, but we should all thank students who work ahead, because it allows us all to have more current information about what's going on. So other than that, this week you are going to be adding some CSS to your GitHub pages, right? So this is the repo in here. It's a folder, but it's also a repo. So this is what I ended up doing for the project. That's why all those files are in there. And then I'm not going to go over the rest of this because I go over this in the video, but these two videos where I talk about specifically how to set up these crash courses, I'm giving you a new instruction, so hopefully watch this first. Okay, so week 5 is not available yet, so I will release that. I think it's good. I'm just going to go through and look at it a little bit. We're going to do Git branching. Is that week 5? We do a draft. Oh yeah, current topics. Yeah, that's right. We start talking about project 0, the most way important. So it's the week after. So I'll open that up so you can take a look. And then I may even open it up 6. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.